All right, so good afternoon. This is Mr. Morales, and I'm going to explain to you the review for our common assessment for the third 9 weeks. The first 3 problems on the first side of the review all have to do with finding the area of various shapes. Area for any 4-sided shape, like a rectangle or a square, is length times width, in the case of a rectangle, or side times side, as the case is for a square. However, for a circle, the area formula is pi r squared. The key for number 3, though, is to keep pi as a letter, as an amount. Don't put 3.14 when you work it out. All you have to do is multiply the radius times itself, and then include pi with your answer at the very end. So 1, 2, and 3 are just finding the area. For numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7, what you're going to do is you need to find the factors that make these equations. And it has to do with what we did last week when we took the multiples of the last digit and then the sum that make the middle digit here, and which ones work to give us the right factors. For numbers 8, 9, and 10, these are all review about exponential rules. Remember, when you have division, you simplify or divide your coefficients and then subtract top exponents minus bottom exponents. If you wind up with a positive exponent, that variable goes in the numerator. If you wind up with a negative exponent, that variable goes in the denominator. The other 2 problems just revolve around the basic rules for exponents. For 11 through 14, all you need to do is simplify each of these expressions and then give me the answer, the positive answer. If they're perfect squares, they'll have nice whole answers like the first one. If they're not perfect squares, then you're going to have to factor them out and get the different expressions that represent them. For 15, 16, and 17, for 15, they want domain and range. That's how wide your graph is, from the lowest amount to the highest amount on the x-axis. And same thing for the range, from the lowest amount to the highest amount. Don't forget that these closed and open dots do affect your symbols when you write that. For number 16, this is a simple substituting and solving. Plug in -5 wherever you see an x, and then solve this equation using PEMDAS or MSolve on your calculator. For number 17, go ahead and just use FOIL or distributive property. Make sure you always combine like terms whenever you can to get your final answer. And the back side of your review for today now. All multiple choice questions. Number 1 is just a factoring of a non-perfect square number. Number 2, let me let this focus really quick. Number 2 is factoring using distributive property on 2 binomials and getting the final answer. Number 3, here we're given, they want us to find the area of a square, and they give us the side length, so you just square it. Number 4, we have to factor this equation and find the factors that yield this equation when you multiply it. And for number 5, we have basically a bunch of combining like terms in the right order to get your final answer. And number 6, this one's a little tricky. You have to remember every single rule for working with exponents. You're going to multiply your numerators on top first, multiply your denominators on the bottom, apply the rules wherever they're appropriate to get your final answer. These answers will all be attached to this post, so feel free to review them. And if you have any questions, Mr. Morales will be here tomorrow morning anytime after 7:45. All right, good luck with your test.